when you're working through issues, it creates that accountability for you to stop solving the big issues on your own in the business. And you're able to be away. These leadership team meetings should be able to happen regardless of if you are in the business working or if you're out for a week or out for 4 weeks. Your leadership team should be able to move through and address issues using some of these powerful questions.
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire.
All right, let's do this. Welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Starling, and I'm continuing today in our series on how to take a 4-week vacation. This is part 3 in our 3-part series about this. And I want to comment that if you are watching this live, I'm doing a giveaway of my book, The 4-Week Vacation. Drop a comment in the chat that you're here live right now, and I will get you a signed copy of my book, The 4-Week Vacation. And if you can tell, I've got a lot of excitement and energy in my voice because it just dawned on me that I am 2 weeks away from my 4-week vacation. And I'm really, really excited about that. I love taking a 4-week vacation, obviously, for the time off and the fun things that I have planned. But the other reason that I love it is what happens on our team. Every time I go away for an extended period of time, I see our team stepping up and I see people gearing up and getting ready, and we're putting plans in place for how new things that we've implemented since my last vacation, how those things are going to run without me and without my involvement. And the team members get to step up and take ownership around that. And I see that happening. I want to shout out to our success team, Carson and Caitlin. You guys are rocking it, and it's really fun to see everything coming together here. So we are going to go into how to we talked last time about how to set your team up for success for a 4-week vacation. This time, I want to talk to you about decision-making tools that you can share with your team so that they can make decisions with you present or with you absent. And what's really beautiful about implementing these decision-making tools is it up-levels the decision-making in the business, regardless of whether or not you take a 4-week vacation. And so that's what I love about the 4-week vacation, is that it just makes your business better. Melissa Swire, our lead strategist, did some posts in our Mighty Networks community and in social this week about if you're not working on taking a 4-week vacation, you're leaving money on the table. And that is so true, because to fully implement a 4-week vacation and do it successfully, you want to follow the Tap the Potential solution. And the Tap the Potential solution is a model for your business to make it much more efficient. So you create efficiency that leads to increased profitability, and you create efficiency that leads to more time freedom for you. So I'll be going into that in a future podcast episode, because I really want to bring everything together with respect to the 25-hour work week and a 4-week vacation, because you can do both. It doesn't have to be an either or. You can have a consistent 25-hour work week and still take 4-week vacations. That's what I do. And we have others who are doing this as well. So with that in mind, let's dive in to figuring out these decision-making tools for your team. And I want to share that these tools are detailed in the 4-week vacation book. Everything that I've shared with you in the last few weeks on the podcast, if you want to go in more depth with it, is in the 4-week vacation book. So last week we talked about having your clear, compelling, vivid vision. A lot of times people need questions to prompt you to create your vision. And I put a lot of those questions, those kinds of prompts here in the 4-week vacation book to support you on that. And the other thing that I want to say is if you have not made the 4-week vacation pledge yet with us, I encourage you to do that. There is so much benefit when you get really clear that you're going to set your business up where it can run efficiently and it can run without your daily presence. So head on over to tapthepotential.com/pledge, make your pledge. You will get invited to our jumpstart that happens next week. And I'm going in depth in the Tap the Potential solution. So make that pledge. Head on over to tapthepotential.com/pledge and then join us in the Better Business, Better Life Jumpstart. There's no charge for the Jumpstart. There's no charge for the pledge. We are supporting you. We're bringing together our resources to support you in being successful in designing your business to be sustainably profitable and to be able to run without you so that you have more time to enjoy your life. Okay, so let's talk about these decision-making tools. I have found that when it comes to decisions and choices in our businesses, that when I'm on my own, my natural tendency is to just try to figure things out on my own. So when a team member comes to me and presents a problem or a challenge, I immediately start thinking through, well, what's the solution? How can I solve this for them? How can I fix it? How can I make it better? And we make a lot of decisions in reactive mode, and we rarely take time to think through choices and alternatives. I've been in business 18 years, and I can see so many times where I made an off-the-cuff decision to solve something that somebody brought to me. And after I had more information, I realized that I didn't make the best decision, and I paid some dumb tax for it. And I think you probably can relate to that. And as a matter of fact, if you're watching this live, if you can relate to making off-the-cuff decisions and paying dumb tax, just post that in the chat or give me a thumbs up. So, we all know we're together in this. And when we bring our teams in to start making higher level decisions in our business, number one, it holds us accountable to not make these decisions off the cuff. We have implemented EOS, the Entrepreneur's Operating System, which is detailed in the book Traction by Gino Wickman. We've implemented that at Tap the Potential. So we have level 10 leadership team meetings once a week. And in these meetings, whenever there's an issue that comes up in the week, I don't solve it. I put it on the issues list. So that immediately slows me down. And I'm so appreciative because I realize I don't have to figure this out on my own. I can involve Amy and Melissa. There are two other leaders in the level 10 meeting. I can involve them in making decisions about it. And I also have time to gather more information before we discuss it in the level 10 meeting. And those are two critical things. So this forces you to slow down in your decision-making process. That's a big benefit. And I also know the benefits of sleeping on a decision that often yields a fresh perspective. So I highly encourage you in that way too. But then asking for input from others on your team yields new perspectives and alternatives that you might not identify on your own. And so when we couple team decision-making with powerful questions, the quality of our decisions increases exponentially. So learning how to ask powerful questions to shine the light on alternatives that we haven't explored, that's a skill that a lot of us need to develop. This is a coaching skill, and we teach the powerful questioning skills in our Coach Approach program, which is in our Leadership Academy at Tap the Potential. So I want to share with you some key things about these powerful questions. First off, they're open-ended questions. They are not yes/no questions. And there's a place for yes/no questions when you're gathering information and seeking clarity. That's a place to ask some yes/no questions or closed-ended questions because you're just fact-finding, you're gathering information. But the place to really use those open-ended questions is is in when you're discussing the issues with your leadership team. I want to give you some examples of powerful questions that you might just keep handy when you have these leadership team meetings. So, what's the real issue? What assumptions am I making? Oh my gosh, I love that question because it just reminds me that I'm probably making assumptions and I need to figure out what assumptions I am making. What other ways could I approach this? What is the other person thinking, feeling, or wanting? What have I not considered? What are 3 counter arguments to my opinion? I love this question. Years ago, I had a coach who, whenever I was in a coaching session with him and we would come up with, okay, here's what we think we're going to do and move forward, he'd say, well, wait a minute, what are 3 counter arguments to doing this? And so he always made me flip things around in my head. And I made a lot better decisions because he made me slow down and think about what are 3 counter arguments here? What do I not know? Where am I stuck? What is the real challenge for me? What am I tolerating? What am I tolerating that goes against our immutable laws? Where am I stopping short? What is in the way? What information do I need to make a more informed decision? So as you listen to these questions, I hope you're seeing there's multiple ways these questions can be used. You can use them yourself before any decision you make on your own. You can ask yourself these questions before you go into discussion with your leadership team to discuss the issue so that you have given more thought to the issue before you just jump in and start discussing it off the cuff. And you can teach your team to ask themselves these powerful questions about the same issue. Can you imagine 3 leaders asking themselves these kinds of powerful questions about an issue before you talk about the issue? Like, whoa, like that just creates tremendous confidence in the decision making that's happening, and it elevates the quality of these decisions. And again, these questions are listed in the 4-Week Vacation book. And what I really encourage you to do is bring this type of questioning into your leadership team meetings and have a weekly leadership team meeting where you guys are working through issues. And when you're working through issues, it creates that accountability for you to stop solving the big issues on your own in the business. And you're able to be away. These leadership team meetings should be able to happen regardless of if you are in the business working or if you're out for a week or out for 4 weeks. Your leadership team should be able to move through and address issues using some of these powerful questions. So I know you might be thinking, okay, well, Dr. Sabrina, you don't understand. Things happen really quickly in my business. We've got to respond. We have to react. We don't have time to slow down. Yikes. I know that. I used to be there. If that's how you're feeling, you're running your business on adrenaline and you're not making good decisions when you're running your business on adrenaline. Some of them will be good. A lot of them won't be good. And I really believe that when we slow things down, we speed things up. So when we slow down the decision making, we make better quality decisions. We have fewer crises in the future that we have to figure out what to do about. So we start preventing crises in our business because we slow down and we improve our decision making. The next thing I want to share with you is the importance of equipping your team with a decision making filter. I love it when business owners start talking about hiring for higher level positions like leadership positions in the business. And we talked about this just yesterday in the How to Hire the Best course. How do you delegate for these higher level positions that have complexity built into them? There's complexity in the decision making. There's emotional intelligence that's required. And how do you hand that off? And what I think most of us are not aware of, and I know we're not aware of it because I used to be the same way, is that we have decision-making filters in our head. And when we're making decisions, we're already running things through these filters. We just haven't articulated them yet. And sometimes our decision-making filters are not the best. So I want to give you some guidelines for your decision-making filter that you can use on your own, and you can also start training your team members in this decision-making filter. So when it comes to making decisions on your team, last week I talked about the importance of having that compelling, vivid vision. And when you have a compelling, vivid vision, it keeps you out of the survival trap. And you want to make sure that every decision you make aligns and there's direct alignment between that decision and the compelling, vivid vision for the company. And just being able to speak to that, like how, if we go forward and we do this, how does this get us to our vision faster? If you can't answer that, that's a big red flag. You shouldn't make that decision. And you also want to make sure that the decision aligns with the immutable laws in the business. And so if you have your immutable laws defined, you have that clear, compelling, vivid vision, and you and your team members can say, yes, the decision we're making here aligns with the vision, it aligns with the immutable laws, you're on the right track. But there's more that you need to consider, and that is the field of play. And your field of play is created by understanding what your sweet spot in the business is, which is step 2 in the Tap the Potential solution, by the way. So we help you identify your clearly defined sweet spot. And that's your top clients who bring in the most profitable revenue to the business. And it's also your strengths and your team's strengths in serving your top clients. And it's what your top clients appreciate most about what you're doing for them and how they see you as unique. It's not your perspective on how you're unique. It's how your top clients see you as being unique. And it's the systems that you put in place to serve those top clients, attract more of those top clients, attract the right team members to serve those top clients. That's the sweet spot of the business. And so when you have that clearly defined sweet spot, it also allows you to look at every role in the business and identify the expected results for every role in the business. And that goes into creating your field of play, which I talked about in last week's episode on how to take a 4-week vacation. And so when you have that clearly defined field of play, what winning looks like, you have the immutable laws, and you have the clear, compelling, vivid vision. Those are the 3 components that you need and your team needs to be able to make solid decisions. So here's some questions that you can ask. How does this choice move us directly toward our compelling, vivid vision? If it does, how does it do so? Like, we need to be able to explain how it does so. Does this decision align with our immutable laws? Does this decision grow or support the sweet spot of the business? If yes, how does it do so? And if you can't quite draw that direct connection to how it supports and grows the sweet spot, you shouldn't move forward with that decision. How does this decision impact our top clients? Does this decision support profitability? And remember that to build a sustainable company, you want to always look at the impact of a decision on the company's profitability. And you need to be able to say, this will make us more profitable, not this will bring in more revenue, which is where a lot of us get caught in the survival trap, because we're like, oh, we could go do this and it's an easy way to generate revenue. Well, does it support the sweet spot of the business? If not, you're introducing complexity, and complexity is the enemy of profit. You don't want to introduce complexity in the business. And another question is, does this decision further our area of innovation? Your area of innovation is part of your sweet spot. If it does, how does it do so? You got to be able to explain that. Is the decision sustainable long-term? Can we do this? If we add more team members, is this going to be something that we can do? Is this something that if we are doing it long-term and we project it out, we can realize that if this aspect of what we're saying yes to starts to grow, it can really take us off course from our sweet spot? That's a problem. So that sustainability question, can we sustain this long-term? In an example, like a very recent example of this, is working with one of our team members who's doing a role. It's a brand new role in the business. That's kind of how it always is at Tap the Potential. This is a brand new role because we're growing. It's a brand new role in the business. And we like to have fun titles for our roles at Tap the Potential. And the title of this role is not so sexy. It's very basic. And she said, I'd really like to have a more fun title, more just exciting and energizing title. And so I gave her permission, go brainstorm this. Let's figure this out. And the titles that were coming back were manager and kind of higher level titles. And it doesn't fit within our role chart. And I said, when you're in this role, yes, because you're doing it at this higher level because the skill set you bring, but it's not a sustainable title for this role that we could use long-term, because it's really more of an assistant type role. And so it can be a sexy title, but it can't have manager in it, because it would go out of order of how our accountability and role chart is set up. So it wouldn't be a sustainable decision. It would work for this particular team member and the skill set that's being brought to it, but it wouldn't be sustainable long-term. So that's an example of, is this sustainable long-term? If you project this out, you have other people in the role. Does that fit? No, it doesn't fit. Okay. Another powerful question is, what impact does this decision have on our existing systems? Right? How many systems are going to be impacted, and where are if you make this one change, what other systems are impacted, and thinking that through? That's an area I am notorious for overlooking when I'm making decisions on my own. I'll say, oh, yes, we will go do this. And then I have no awareness of the 3 other people on the team and what they're doing, and how me changing this one thing is going to impact the systems that they're running in the business. So I have really learned, if I'm making any kind of decisions around systems, number one, I defer to our integrator, because that's her role, is to integrate everything. And number two, I bring it to the leadership team, and because then we can look at it from multiple angles and multiple perspectives. Another question is, imagine we're looking back on this decision 12 months from now, and it was a huge success. What made it a huge success? And then the opposite of that question is, imagine we're looking back on the decision 12 months from now, and it was a failure. What went wrong? What made it fail? And what actions can we take now that will address that and prevent that in the future? Okay. And a final question is, who else needs to be notified of this decision? If you're following EOS and you use level 10 meetings, this is the portion of the meeting that's called cascading messages. So what decisions were made in this meeting that need to cascade out to the rest of the team? Who needs to know, and who in this meeting is going to take responsibility for cascading that out to the other team members? So there you have it. These are the decision-making tools for you and your team to make better decisions. And when you teach your team members to use these tools, they can run the business in your absence. They will have what they need to make good decisions on your behalf when you're not there, that move the business forward, that align with the vision. So I want you to just imagine that, number one, and when you execute on this and you start using these tools and you train your team members in using these tools, that you can trust them to make decisions. So there's the freedom that comes from being able to be away from the business, and that feels wonderful. Like, you can be away for a week, you can be away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, however many weeks. But there's the day-to-day of the mental load that we entrepreneurs bear, that we carry, that starts to diminish as soon as you start sharing the decision-making responsibilities with others on your team. And it is a tremendous opportunity for your A players to emerge as leaders on the team. And I love just getting in the habit of, when team members are asking me questions, instead of answering, because it's easy for me to just answer right away, I've got the answers, right? I stop and I pause and I say, well, tell me what your thoughts are on that. And that's the first step to training leadership in your team, is just tell me what your thoughts are on that. And letting your team members take ownership, and it builds their confidence in their decision making. And so I talked about this, I think, in part 1 of how to take a 4-week vacation, but I want to emphasize it again. When you let your team start making decisions, sometimes they're going to make decisions that you're not happy with, or it was a bad decision, or things went wrong. And that's where you want to really just celebrate, hey, that's so cool that you made a decision. I appreciate you taking ownership and responsibility like that. This didn't go very well. Let's figure out what we can learn from it. What are the lessons in this? And when you're presented with a situation in the future, what are you going to do differently? That's very powerful to get your team members to reflect on that, because their confidence is going to grow in their decision making. So I hope what I've shared today has been very helpful to you. A lot of it is detailed in the 4-week vacation book. So if you want to go even more in depth with this, grab a copy of the 4-week vacation. It's available on Amazon. It's also available on Audible, paperback and Kindle versions, as well as the audio version. So the other thing I want to share with you is, if you are really ready to just dive into this and get your business where it's running more efficiently, where your team members are taking things off your plate, you should absolutely be in our Jumpstart next week. You can register for the Jumpstart directly at tapthepotential.com/Jumpstart. It's a 5-day workshop. We meet for an hour each day. You get to work with me and the Tap the Potential team. And each day I'm walking you through a portion of the Tap the Potential solution. The other thing that's fun about the Jumpstart is we bring in at least one, if not more, of our existing clients, and they get to share their stories with you. And you get to hear their experiences and how they're using the Tap the Potential solution in their business to be able to have a higher quality of life, to be more profitable, and to really grow the business in a sustainable way where instead of the business taking over life, it becomes life-giving. So you can register for that at tapthepotential.com/jumpstart. And remember, we have a big, hairy, audacious goal at Tap the Potential to disrupt hustle culture. It's my mission to show entrepreneurs everywhere that you can have a business that gives you life instead of taking over your life as it grows. And we want to have 10,000 entrepreneurs taking a 4-week vacation in the next 10 years. We've got Tap the Potential clients that have taken 4-week vacations. There are trailblazers. And if you want to join them, take the pledge. Head on over to tapthepotential.com/pledge and let us get behind you and support you in making your 4-week vacation a reality. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for spending time with me today. Join me in our Tap the Potential Mighty Networks community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Isn't it time you take your life back? And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.